On this episode of Latinas, we'll learn why it's so important for our mujeres to get out and vote. We'll find out why some parents are sending their kids back to school while other parents are keeping their children at home, and so much more. Season 2 of Latinas starts now. Welcome to Latinas, the show that's all about nuestras mujeres in the Latinx community. I'm Tinabeth Piña, and I'm so excited to be kicking off a new season back in New York, one of only 5 states where over 30 million people who identify as Latinx are eligible to vote this November. Interestingly, experts say that the key to winning the Latino electorate this fall might rest on Latinas. Diana Vargas has the story.
Research shows that in recent U.S. elections, women have voted at a higher rate than men, and that gap is even wider in the Latino community.
One interesting fact is that women and Latinas register and vote in higher rates than their male counterparts. So women are actually at the forefront of voting, but we still need more people to turn out.
But when it came time to vote and to get involved in politics, we would often sit it out and say, not my problem, I don't really care about the issue, I don't get involved in politics.
It's clear that Latinas tend to vote less than women from other racial and ethnic groups. But can our political culture be the main factor, as activist Carlin Pinto points out?
The Latino community, because we all come from different ethnic backgrounds, or we all are familiar with different democracies that we may not have taken part in generationally, we come to New York and we don't necessarily vote in the surges of numbers we can. We need to change that. Across New York City, we have 8 million residents. In some of our districts, only 5 to 12% of the people that are eligible to vote are voting.
I think for a very long time we have had a lot of power to dictate what should happen in our country, but we have not exercised it because cultural norms have not permitted us to see our own power.
This November, 32 million Latinos will be eligible to vote, and 75% of them are Gen Z and young millennials. What are the issues that will drive a millennial such as Daniela Velázquez to the polls?
I would say that I am interested in politics, but I'm not very involved in it. There are many things that I would like to see change in terms of policies for Latina women. One of these is that there is more equal pay among Latina women, and white men. I would also like there to be more accessible education for immigrants, and specifically for undocumented immigrants.
And who will lead the way? Perhaps Maria Ordóñez? If she wins, she will become the youngest Latina member of New York City Council.
I'm running for City Council in District 7 in Manhattan, and I'm 21 years old. And I'm running for City Council because I believe that we need to bring the voices of people of color and working class people to City Hall. We are living in a moment where this pandemic has brought so many issues to light, where we're seeing that food insecurity, housing issues, being able to pay for rent.
For New York State Assemblywoman Catalina Cruz, many Latinos throughout the country tend not to register to vote, and that needs to change.
Am I a home caretaker? Am I going to go to college? What am I going to do? Lots of those times, those are our decisions. But then when it came time to decide what's going to happen in our community, we often used to say, I don't get involved in politics.
The Latino community in New York is about 26% of the population. We do not occupy that space when we look at the industries across the state, the electoral spaces, or even in movement spaces.
Latinos can be the deciding vote in the 2020 election, but only if we show up to the polls.
So we are asking for a change of leadership.
It's extremely critical that Latinas go vote, and the way they have been voting and continue to vote even more, because when Latinas vote, you're making your voice heard. Any Latina working anywhere, be it as a homemaker, be it as an educator, a nurse, they can run. And nothing should be a barrier for that.
Voting. We need you and everyone to stand together at the polls if we want to see different policy change from New York City, from New York State, or out of Washington, D.C.
Your vote is your voice, and if you are undocumented or you're unable to vote because of your immigration status, you still have a job.
You can call your neighbors, you can knock on doors, you can make phone calls. There's so many things that you can do despite your ability to vote to be part of the political process.
We cannot stay home. If you are a citizen, register to vote. If you register to vote, come out and vote. Because that is the kind of power we get to exercise now. Who do we want leading our nation? Who do we want leading our neighborhoods? Who do we want representing us?
We need to vote. This is Diana Vargas for Latinas.
This year is the 100th anniversary of the passage of the 19th Amendment, which prohibits states and the federal government from denying citizens the right to vote in the United States based on their gender. And although women finally had the right to vote in 1920, many women and other people of color still suffered from voter suppression. It wasn't until the Voting Rights Act in 1965 and its extensions years later that suffrage was extended to Latinx, Black, and Indigenous Americans. The impact of the Black Lives Matter movement this past summer reminded me in many ways of the Latin answer to the civil rights movement of the 1960s, also known as the Young Lords. Their legacy for creating social change in predominantly Puerto Rican and underserved neighborhoods throughout New York City is still being felt today. Let's take a look.
The Young Lords considered themselves revolutionaries. They believed in the independence of Puerto Rico, which they believed would only come about through revolution, but they also considered themselves socialists. And they fought racism and police violence and brutality in poor neighborhoods of East Harlem, the South Bronx, and the Lower East Side.
The Young Lords were a group of first-generation Puerto Rican college students who took their cues from Marxism philosophy and the civil rights movement. They also embraced other young minorities into their organization.
They engaged in protests that were savvy, strategic, that involved the community. They occupied Lincoln Hospital right here in the Bronx. They engaged in protests around issues of public health. They burned garbage in East Harlem to protest poor sanitation services there. And they won tremendous reforms.
We were at war with the US government, and we were at war with the city government. With all our bravado, being 18 and 22 years old, we thought that we were going to change things overnight.
Thankfully, all of this history has been dramatically documented and exhibited in collaborative presentations all over New York City throughout the years that tell the story of the Young Lords with striking photos, video, art, and other archival materials.
What the museum has done here is amazing. It's important that this be gathered, that this not be lost, that what we did was not in the vain. I mean, I know that we made an impact at that time, but very rarely are we credited for what we did.
One of their biggest impacts was when they took over an East Harlem church, which wasn't providing any services to the community. The Young Lords renamed it the People's Church.
For the 11 days that we had the church, we had a breakfast program, we had free medical clinic for the community, we had cultural events. So we kind of demonstrated what we could do with space and very little money, but resources from the community.
The Young Lords also advocated for gender equality and developed a 13-point platform to publicize what they stood for. Plus, they created a very popular newspaper called Pa'lante, which promoted their agenda to the community and beyond.
We didn't have the internet, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have YouTube videos. So how do you take the information you've got and how do you get it out to people in the community other than by word of mouth? You need a vehicle, and that vehicle was a newspaper. Anybody that had a skill became part of the staff of Pa'lante. A lot of the community wasn't necessarily totally literate. So we tried to use art to communicate the politics that we were working with in the community at the time.
The Young Lords also created a sense of Latino pride, which stimulated a renaissance in Latino music and art, particularly in the Lower East Side. Unfortunately, the party fell apart, and by 1976, they were defunct, but not their impact on the city.
I want to welcome each and every one of you today. For many of us, this is very surreal. We were not an after-school program. We were a paramilitary revolutionary organization.
A wind in historical times, it was just a minute, less than 2 years. But it also shows what, again, like-minded, committed people that trust and love each other can do in a short period of time.
That 5 people can get together in an apartment or on a campus and decide to start a movement that can change the world. And you don't have to be, funded to do it. You don't have to go take a course on how to do it. You just have to have the commitment and the desire for change, and it can happen.
Sometimes race relations among Latinas comes down to their hair. And that's the topic of today's Caliente Caliente.
Well, it's funny. So I used to have really long, curly, flowy hair. And about 7 years ago, I just chopped it off. All of a sudden, no one speaks to me in Spanish. All of a sudden, all the Latinos that looked at me before would never look at me now. I feel like short hair doesn't equate with Latina, or being of Latin background.
When I was younger, like 10 years ago, I had dreadlocks. And so that was not a very Latina thing to do.
Right.
But like hair is an indication of culture and race.
Yeah.
So people base that on that.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, because you look to me, you look Latina,
right.
Whether you have short hair or long hair.
Right.
Hair is such a identifier. When I went to South Africa in 2002 and I visited Robben Island, I was told that the way you were identified in terms of being colored versus African was they would stick a pencil in your hair, and if the pencil fell out, then you were considered colored, but if it stayed, you were considered African.
There's no place in the world that doesn't identify with dark or light, unfortunately. And I wonder how it's going to progress. Because for me, like learning about the one drop rule was like, oh, I guess we all black. Right. But now there's so many more mixes of people that, you can't tell who is mixed or who's not. Right. So I wonder how in the future, how they're going to determine blackness or non-blackness.
I remember the first time my father made reference to pelo malo, bad hair. I flipped, I was ready to just and he's like, oh, calm down, but the reality is I'm trying to educate my kids to think differently.
Did you ever have to straighten your hair?
So I did experiment with a relaxer once. A friend of mine did it with me. It was awful. It was the worst experience ever. But soon after, I discovered the Dominican salons, so I just did, rolos and blow dries. So I never did a relaxer, after that first debacle. I was in the 6th grade. I got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I had the relaxer. My mom's hair is wavy, so she didn't know how to take care of our hair. So when we were young, she put the relaxer in, and I had it since college, where I was just like, nope, cut it off.
So now the whole big talk is natural versus relaxed, and are you not black enough, or do you not identify with your culture? I don't think hair, I think whatever makes you happy and whatever makes you feel comfortable, that's how you wear your hair. If people want to weave it, put on a wig, straighten it, curly, I'm all for it. Short, long, I don't think hair. I think culturally, we're so caught up in the hair thing, right? Until we can get past those internal issues that we have as a community and as a people, because that's what I'm most concerned about, this next generation, empowering them to be who you are and be comfortable in your skin, in your hair, in your natural state. And if you decide that you want to do something different, that's okay too.
Latinas in CUNY TV celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. From September 15th to October 15th, Latinx everywhere come together to celebrate the customs, traditions, histories, and cultures that make up our heritage. The celebration originated in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week and was expanded to 30 days by President Ronald Reagan in 1988. The celebration pays tribute to the generations of Hispanic Americans who have positively influenced and enriched our nation. If you're wondering why it starts and ends in the middle of the month, that's because the 15th marks the Independence Day of 5 Latin American countries: Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. Mexico and Chile follow shortly thereafter on the 16th and 18th. Wepa! According to the New York City Department of Education, 40% of its students are Latinx, and their parents, along with everyone else's, have had to make the decision to either send their children back to school or continue with remote learning. Parent and correspondent Elena Romero has that story.
It was really unexpected for us. We didn't know, we didn't know if this was going to be a week. We didn't know it was going to be the rest of the school year.
Parents like Staten Island mom Nyla Rosario found themselves in a remote learning experiment back in March when children were forced to go to school remotely because of COVID-19. Rosario's 14-year-old son found it challenging, while her 13-year-old daughter enjoyed it.
There was no interaction with other students. It was very work heavy. He would start working at 9 in the morning and he wouldn't finish till like 4:30. On the other hand, my daughter Lena, there was more of a balance with socialization.
So now Rosario is opting for hybrid learning this fall. Her decision was a collaborative process with her 2 children.
I really think that, especially if your kids are a little bit older, it's really important for them to be part of the process, to ask them how they feel, to see what they think. I had a conversation with both of the kids and about what they wanted to do and what they preferred.
I understand that it's a little bit dangerous to go to school in the fall because how we don't really know enough, a lot about the virus. We don't know if it would happen again, but I do want to see my friends again.
Unfortunately, not all students will see their friends in person. Millie Velasquez decided to keep her children at home.
I made the decision for my kids to do virtual learning because of that. I don't feel comfortable, especially with my youngest. My youngest is in remission.
Remission from?
Cancer. We don't have answers of what's really causing all this. And as a parent, education is very important, but their well-being is even more important. For now, until we get better answers, I feel comfortable keeping her at home and my oldest one as well.
Millie Velasquez decided to keep her daughters home. The preschool paraprofessional is back at work.
And I feel that if the parents and the kids that already know you see familiar faces, they'll feel a little bit of a relief. So I want to go back for them to probably take a little bit of the fears out of myself by being there physically.
I also want to be there physically for my children. And my fears of COVID-19 is what drove my decision to keep my children home and continue with remote learning. Like Velasquez, Rosario, and myself, parents will continue to monitor schools closely. I'm Elena Romero for Latinas.
For over 60 years, legendary singer, songwriter, and activist Joan Baez has been a musical force of nature. Baez, who is of Mexican and Scottish descent, released her first album in 1960 at just 19 years old, and from that instant became known for music that promoted social justice, civil rights, and pacifism. She sang at the 1963 March on Washington, visited Vietnam during the war, and was a founding member of the U.S. section of Amnesty International. Although Baez is generally regarded as a folk singer, the Grammy Award-winning artist's music is diversified and encompasses other genres such as rock, pop, country, and gospel music. She has released over 30 albums during her career, and her most popular songs include We Shall Overcome and Diamonds and Rust. With an enduring career, Baez continues to record and perform music and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2017. Joan Baez is today's Bad Ass Latina. 2 CUNY alums are moving ahead with their plans for a new Bronx Film Festival, and COVID-19 is not stopping them. In fact, these Latinas want to give filmmakers and film lovers the total theatrical experience while keeping them safe. Judith Escalona has more.
The Bronx has a new film festival. It's called the Motthaven Film Festival, coming soon, hopefully, to a theater in this storied South Bronx neighborhood. Ninoska Carolina is the founder and executive director.
I grew up in the South Bronx and the Motthaven section of the Bronx. And I just felt that the community needed something different, needed something to really showcase the art.
porque mucha gente no tenía que comer. Andaban descalzos.
Oh, what's up, que lo que mi gente?
Sugar daddy.
Ay, bendito, look at this line, I'm gonna be here forever.
Filmmakers from all over the world will be featured in competition with Bronx natives.
We do want to elevate the Bronx film voice, but not by excluding anyone else. So anyone that is interested in submitting their film, they're more than welcome.
Ninoska, who has a background in public relations, got the idea for the festival after attending a film festival in Los Angeles, where Sexo y Tortillas, her sister Priscilla Alvarez's film, was screening.
Just that whole process of applying for the film festival, getting selected, all of that is just an amazing experience to share with her and to give the same experience to someone from the neighborhood.
So plans were to open at a Motthaven venue when the city suddenly shut down in March because of the pandemic.
There was a point in time where I basically didn't want to move forward because everything was, on pause. It was just like, is this even going to be possible? And I spoke to my general manager about it, and she goes, you know what, let's just move forward. And we did. And I'm so happy that we did.
I said, listen, you're the executive director, you make the decisions. I'm just making sure the sucker runs. What I mean the sucker runs, that we have films, that we have a program to show to the public, and of course that the filmmakers have a really good experience.
That's easier said than done. The pandemic caused many of their sponsors to withdraw their support. So Ninoska came up with the idea to sell festival-branded merchandise, baseball caps, t-shirts, etc. on the Motthaven Film Festival website and in pop-up shops throughout the Bronx.
So it was just an idea of, you know what, we need to promote this any way possible.
The income generated from sales will pay for the theater where the screenings and award ceremony will take place. Unlike other film festivals, Ninoska and Eurydice have no intention of going virtual.
It's very gratifying as the filmmaker to see the audience laugh when you wanted them to laugh, to cry, to say, oh my God, all of those emotions. You can't really do that. You can't experience that, through Zoom, for instance, or any online platform. And I don't want to take that away from the filmmaker.
If all goes as planned, the Motthaven Film Festival will take place this October. For Latinas, I'm Judith Escalona.
The fashion world isn't always as diverse as it should be, but that hasn't stopped Monique Carter from making a name for herself at global fashion brand Rebecca Minkoff, where she plans on opening doors for even more people of color. And that's why she's today's Latina on the rise.
I'm doing so much more than I thought I would ever do in this field, in this career path.
For over 5 years, Bronx-born and raised Cubana, Monique Carter has been creating social media content as a creative producer for ready-to-wear fashion brand Rebecca Minkoff.
There aren't that many Afro-Latinas that are in the forefront. I'm a producer at Rebecca Minkoff. It's a fashion brand that carries women's ready-to-wear handbags, shoes, and accessories. So my role is a producer. So what I do is I produce all the creative content that goes up on her website. So I produce all of our e-com shoots. I produce all of our editorial shoots that go up on the website and our social media shoots that we put on Instagram, Facebook, and any of our social media channels. I work with casting, so I work with a lot of modeling agencies, trying to get girls to come in that kind of fit the brand. And if you look on our website, we do have women of color on our website, and that's something that I make it my duty to do, as well as in our New York Fashion Week shows and presentations.
As a creative behind the scenes, Monique's work is even more important in this day and age, since the fashion industry unfortunately is known to be predominantly white, from the design rooms to the boardrooms and studios.
It can become intimidating when you're trying to get into this industry because you don't see people that look like you or look like me. And it's something that I'm still striving for and trying to break the door down and saying that, like, listen, I'm here, I'm gonna do this, I want to do this, and I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna rock this.
With the Black Lives Matter movement at full steam, fashion brands have had no choice but to make an effort to diversify.
There has been a shift of Afro-Latinas, African-American women in fashion, period. I'm starting to see that there are a lot more women, a lot more African-American women-owned brands that are coming up. I see that there's a lot of content creators that are Black women. They happen to be Afro-Latina. It's a lot of us. And I see like there's a shift, like everyone is waking up now. And they're like, you know what, I can do this, I'm beautiful. I'm so happy to see that. And it just makes me want to keep doing more and pushing and continuing to perfect my craft.
Clearly, Monique is already setting an example for the next crop of fashion up-and-comers and has this advice for them.
Don't take no for an answer. If someone tells you no, you knock down another door or another door or another door and just keep it pushing.
And that's our show for today. For more information on what you just saw, check out our website at tv.cuny.edu and follow our social media profiles. We love sharing our Latina stories with you. And please make sure you tune in next month, where we'll meet breast cancer survivor Amanda Acevedo and celebrate Halloween with 2 Brooklyn Brujas. ¡Uepa! Hasta la próxima. Bye-bye.